After weeks of going unheard by the Ministry of Sustainable Development and Climate Change, the complaints made by the Association of Protected Areas Management Organizations are being addressed. On Thursday, APAMO held a press conference to reiterate concerns previously outlined in a 7-page letter to the ministry that went unanswered. Today, the CEO Kenrick Williams says that they have been heard loud and clear. He explains that the ministry is currently revising strategies to strengthen collaborations and facilitation between the government and co-managers. However, he acknowledges the need for clear communication between the parties at all stages of the process.
We came with an initial consultations, initial engagement to say to the co-managers, this is what government is looking at. Let's give us some initial feedback. No, I recognize that maybe the approach, maybe the timeline, the notification, definitely some gaps in the communication from our side, and we acknowledge that. And so we are going to continue to make sure that as we go through this process is really just the start. This is not the final draft and say, here you go, give me your input, what are you fitting at this? This is the first part. This is what we are contemplating as a government, to address all of those things: the coordination, the collaboration, ensuring that we get the financial investment, ensuring that government is able to meet its part of the bargain, and ensure that there's transparency and accountability on all parts of the partnership.
Among the complaints voiced were difficulties in accessing funding and resources from the government. Eli Miller, Managing Director of Monkey Bay Wildlife Sanctuary, highlighted how this challenge affected fire relief efforts earlier this year.
We had a lot of fires this year, and I will say it's going to happen again. We're going to have the consistent hotter, drier conditions coming, and as we've discussed with some of the ministers and the coordinator for NEMO, the best capacity for fire suppression and fire management in Belize rests with our co-management entities. They have rangers who deal with fire on an annual basis, and that's where the knowledge lies. That's how we're going to be able, those people are going to be able to transcribe that knowledge to the communities, those who don't already have it, and we can be a better country for it. We can manage our fire situation better. And that doesn't happen without some kind of support from government and some leadership as well.
According to the ministry, PACT has since provided $461,000 in emergency support for fire management. However, APAMO noted the difficulties in accessing grants over the past 2 years. Williams says that PACT and the ministry are working towards a solution.
PACT itself and its partners has been trying to see how we are targeted in the investment. So we've created a conservation investment program. That has been, we've been working with the protected areas co-managers over the last 2 years to try to ensure that, again, the point is that we have limited money. And so we have to make sure that we have the type of impact that we want to create from those investments. So we're changing the way how we do that. That indeed has been taking some time. We've been working closely with the co-managers. We've been working closely with the government partners, but that has largely been slow. The board recently took a decision that we need to fast track that process, and so we're going to be providing about $1 million in bridge financing in the next 2 weeks or so in order to get some investments on the ground.
Williams also maintains that the intention of the changes is not to micromanage the work of the co-managers, but rather improve the relationship between parties involved.
There are responsibilities on both parts. Government as a regulatory agency have to make sure that there's accountability, there's transparency, there's reporting. Right now that is a framework that is missing, right? We are not reporting against funds collected. We are not, I cannot be able to go out and say our protected areas report against this or leverage this amount of money to the system. I know one figure put out was about 16 million, but there's no clear report. We, government and co-managers, have not been able to come together and say, this is the type of impact we're having on the ground collectively and nationally. The intent, therefore, is not to micromanage, is to improve how we do things.
Brittany Gordon for News 5.